home and you might not have much yoga equipment. So I recommend having something that might be the equivalent of a block. Some of you will have seen the Instagram video I did a few days ago on using various things like a plastic beaker or a box of tissues, which can be quite useful. Although they're probably harder to come by than yoga blocks at the moment. And a book. So this makes a good alternative. A hardback book is a good alternative to a regular type yoga block. So have those things ready, and either a blanket, and you know, obviously this is a yoga blanket, so this is a cotton yoga blanket. And Anita, I can see you, I've got your video, it's nice to see your face. So you are welcome, if you want to bring yourselves up on screen, you're welcome to, but just keep yourselves muted. So it's up to you. I will talk about how we're going to run the class, just because obviously I don't have the same interaction that we have in a regular class, for me looking out for you. But we'll do what we can. So yes, a blanket. This is a yoga blanket, so it's a nice cotton blanket, but obviously not everyone has those. So if you've got a wool blanket can be okay, but if not, a towel is really good. So get a bath towel ready, and that makes a good alternative to a cotton blanket. So get that ready before the class starts then. We've got a few basics, but we'll mostly run the class without equipment. Okay, so who else has come in? Hello, Catherine. Hello, Francis. Hello, Galaxy A40, whoever that is. So, and hello about balance. So it's really wonderful to have you all here. I think we are almost 1 minute and then we'll start. Thanks everyone for dialing in. You know, it's really, really lovely to still be able to share yoga with you. And although we can't see each other, it's nice to know that we've got how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 of us, I think, practicing together. So, you know, we've got that energy of all coming together and doing this practice together. I think someone else may have just dialed in. So that's really lovely. So although you are at home, you know, whether you're at home alone or with someone else, you've got this group of people who are collectively coming together. So yeah, that's really lovely. So welcome, Swagatam. We're going to start the class now. I hope that the sound is all good for everyone. If not, make sure you are muted throughout the class. If there's any problem with the sound now, I'm going to be back here. In fact, I can probably get my mat in a little closer to you. And you can still see, no, actually I believe be further back. Let me know, come on screen now and let me know if there's any problem. Right, okay, sorry, we had a phone call. I'm just going to, before we start, just going to text Jim to turn his phone off because this is his computer. Okay, right, we are ready to go now. So thank you very much. Welcome everyone. Let's come to sit. So as I said, you've either got your yoga block ready or a book or a blanket. So if you need something to sit on, all of these things, or a towel, you know, fold it up if you need something. We're going to come to a cross-legged seated posture. So bring yourselves to sit down. And then just bring your hands to your heart and close your eyes. Now settle into your breath. Now this is something that we probably all really need at the moment. I know I certainly feel like I need to settle into my breath because, you know, no matter how sort of level-headed we are, and you know, maybe some of us with fairly pragmatic personalities might be coping very well. You know, there is a level of stress that's around in the world at the moment. So let's take the time to come into our center. So this is kind of what we've all come together for, really. You know, maybe there's part of us that's sort of desperate to stretch out our limbs, particularly in this time where maybe you have been self-isolating, some of you, maybe you haven't been out of the house much, haven't moved your body as much. So, you know, there's that call to yoga, not just for the mind and the heart, but for the body as well. So we begin by just settling into our breath. And as you settle into your breath, what you're doing, settling into your breath, is settling into being. You're settling into this space. So you're not trying to do anything specifically with your breath. You're just allowing your breath to flow with ease. Let's take an Om together. So we'll take a deep inhalation. Soften your forehead, release your jaw. And then slowly release your hands. And then we're going to bring ourselves up to standing slowly. So come up, you know, move out as you need to. So you may need to, you know, have a little wiggle, have a little shake, anything you need to do. And then we're going to come to standing. So we're going to come to standing. And what we're going to do is we're going to stand. You may be on a yoga mat, you may not be on a yoga mat. We're going to stand somewhere, maybe what would be the center of our yoga mat or the center of our metaphorical yoga mats. We're going to spread our toes. So we're coming into Tadasana. We're bringing the feet close in towards each other. So, you know, I can't see you. So, and, you know, in a way, when you come to practice yoga in a yoga class, you should practice as though your yoga teacher can't see you. Some people may think to practice like the teacher can see them makes them do it right, but actually what you should be doing is, you know, really allowing your practice to have a sense of self-responsibility, to tune in. So we can hear the words from our yoga teacher, we can, you know, take the instructions, but actually the deepest instruction is coming from within. The deepest instruction is coming from, you know, the deep listening. And that deep listening, it extends to our observation, it extends to us, you know, looking at how we are placing our feet, looking at how we are standing. So we have a little bit of space between the feet if we need it. We check in with our ankles, our knees and our hips. We release our arms down. We let the breath flow. So again, come back to your breath, not trying to do anything specific with your breath, but allowing the breath to, you know, be this tool that we have that moves between the internal and external, and it moves freely. So, you know, some of us may be feeling that perhaps we're not so free at the moment if we are forced into being at home, or, you know, we're all being encouraged to not be out too much. So there is a little sense in that we can have our freedom taken away. But, you know, the reality is we can experience freedom in any moment, you know, even in conditions of, you know, incarceration. And we can experience that sense of freedom in the heart center. So as we come to the breath, we come to the heart, we come to settle. You know, find that center of yourself that tells you you are inherently free. You may release your arms down by your side. It's a little external rotation of the arms. So in that external rotation, there's a broadness across the chest, a little light tone in the belly, and rising up through the body. Your forehead is soft, your jaw is released. Now we're going to move the body a little. We're going to inhale and raise our arms up. And then bringing your hands together as you exhale, you're going to bend your knees. We're going to come all the way down towards a squat. So you can allow your heels to lift, hands to the heart. You can allow the head to just lean forwards gently. So there's a little looking, a little gaze towards the earth. Breathing. So there's a little element of balance here if your heels are up. So, you know, we need to stay tuned in so we can adapt to that movement as it rises and falls. And then we're going to bring ourselves up. So we're going to take our arms out wide. We're going to allow the heels to land, the legs to extend, the body to reach up, lifting up, extending, maybe moving into it, a little wiggle from side to side, whatever you need. And then your hands may come in together, and we're going to do the same thing again, drawing the hands, tracing the center line of the body as you come down, bending your knees. Heels can lift, head can release forwards. So there's a little action here using our hands in this prayer position of drawing ourselves out into the world. So as we come up, as you raise the body up and your arms up and you extend, you are pulling that resource from around you and drawing it back down into the center of your being. So we're moving between this relationship of, you know, what we can say is, you know, contraction. We often have an idea that contraction is a negative thing, but it can be a really super positive thing in that we contract down into the very center of ourselves. And expansion out into everything. So, of course, you know, in yoga philosophy, we're going to bring our hands together and bring our hands to the heart without coming down this time. In yoga philosophy, expansion and contraction are two parts of the same thing. When we expand, when we contract into our center, what we're actually doing is moving to the point of being that allows us to expand out. Our usual associations with being, which is the head, maybe the body, you know, or, you know, constructs of self, you know, they take us into a contraction that we can't expand from. But the contraction into our very heart center, this is the contraction that allows us to reach out wide and far, infinitely. So this is really important in this current time. Okay, we're going to take our legs out into a wide stride now. So bring your hands onto your hips and step your feet out wide. Okay, breathe. Now, with your feet out wide, what I'd like you to do is just check the alignment of your feet. You might not have a mat to check with, but you can look at your feet, and you want your feet to be aligned with each other down the midline of the feet here. So from the center of the toes to the center of the heels, if you were able to draw a line down through the feet, that's the line that you would be aligning. So let's do that. And then we'll move our feet. So you can move your legs and we can play into this. So maybe we might bend one leg, lift a heel and lean over and do the same to the other side. So we can play between the feet. You may even feel a little sort of bounce off, which can be nice to spring off each foot and move. And then when you extend the foot down, then I'd like you to feel planted. So you might move again, perhaps forwards and back, maybe moving the hips. We want to just feel this steadiness between the feet. And then what we're going to do from here is we're going to extend our arms out, and we're going to extend our arms out wide. You can raise your hands a little higher than your head, like you are extending your body out into the widest space you possibly can. Now, as we do this, bring a little light tone to the belly, lift up through the midline of the body, soften your forehead, release your jaw, and breathe. Now, as you extend into that space, you might close your eyes, and you know, there's not much to see apart from your screen with me on it. So, you know, it's an interesting way to practice. You know, we may have perhaps more distraction in a yoga class because the temptation to look at someone else's practice can be strong. So, you know, we don't have that now, so that can be useful. So what we can do is fully immerse our attention in our experience of being while we're here. Now, I'm holding this fairly statically at the moment, but you don't have to be. You can play into this, you can move into this. And particularly if you're feeling a little fatigue coming into the shoulders, you know, play around. You can raise your arms up, you can move a little from side to side, you can roll the shoulders, you know, feel into the hips. You know, do whatever you need to do to be able to stay with the pose and immerse yourself in it. That's it, breathe. Okay, well done. You may bring your arms down now and just release the arms, let them hang. So you can feel this release coming from the base of the neck, through the shoulders, through the upper arms, and allowing your breath to settle. And noticing that settling that's happening in the body now. Noticing that release through the neck and shoulders as you just do nothing. Okay, we're going to place our hands on our hips so we can move our feet now. So you're going to turn your left toes in, you know, fairly steeply. The heel can kick out, and then the right foot and leg turning out. Front heel of the right foot lining up with the instep of the back foot. Now, spread your toes. Extend the feet, so you may lift up the feet so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm bending my knee of my front leg to lift the heel and extending back. I'm lifting up the other heel. I'm reaching out, I'm spreading through the toes. I'm breathing. Okay. And then we're going to take our arms out wide. Now, we're going to play a little here. We are going to be coming into Trikonasana or Utthita Trikonasana, extended triangle pose. But what we're going to do first of all is just play into the movement of the hips. So you can let your hips sway a little from side to side, and you can reach into your arms. So we're just going into these places of extension without folding into it yet. So you extend an arm over and then the other arm, and you breathe and play into that and feel into that. Okay, and then you're going to raise up your lead arm. And then I want you to breathe into that raised arm, and I want you to perhaps trace your breath through the leg, through the body, and through the arm. So you can, let's feel that we can inhale from the earth. So as we inhale, we're coming up through the leg, up through the side of the body, up through the arm. And as we exhale, we're going to feed it back down into the back foot. So we're going to inhale up through the front of the body, up through the arm. And as we exhale, we're going to feel that we plant the back foot deeper into the floor, deeper into the earth. A little light tone on the lower belly as you lift your chest, so we can keep this extension in the upper body. And again, feel free to move into this. So I don't want you to get caught or stuck or feel static. And as we would in a yoga class, we'd often explore much more movements, and maybe we sometimes pick up on that energy of someone who might be moving next to us, and it might encourage us into movement. So keep checking in. So notice if you feel that you're getting stuck, it's fine to be still. But if you feel that you're getting stuck, then you might think, okay, I need to pick up a little flow here. Okay, we're going to fold ourselves into Trikonasana now. We're going to let the pelvis turn in this direction. So simply tilt your pelvis. I'm not at all trying to send my body over my front leg, but the tilt of the pelvis is making this happen. Okay, that's it, breathe. So I can't see you, but I can sense you. And I can sense that occasionally breath holding may come in for one or two of you. So keep coming back to the breathing, to deep breaths. Then you may look up, perhaps towards the top hand if you're comfortable in the neck. So you can keep looking forwards. What will make you comfortable to look up is making sure that we have an open chest. So if the chest is leaning forwards and you're trying to look up, that's not going to be comfortable. So you want the body to start the turn of the head. Okay. Now I want you to come up by feeling that you are pulling on your middle finger of this top hand. You're going to be really soft in the lower hand and lower arm, and feel that pull up to the center from the back arm. Lower your hands down onto your hip. Turn your feet to the front. Take a breath. Settle yourself. We're going to turn our back toes in. We're going to turn our front foot and leg out, spreading the toes. And again, we're going to raise our arms, but before we come into it, we're going to move back and forth a little. Back and forth. That's it. So you can play into it. You can really lean into it. This will require a little bit more tone in the belly, leaning back. But you are free to reach into it, to be playful. Even, I'm not there. You can go a little bit more off-piece, perhaps. You might be lifting your arm up a little more. You may be playing into the feet a little more. Feel into the breath. Okay, now bringing the back hand onto the hip, raising up your lead arm. Perfect. Keep lifting. Now again, we're going to feel into that inhalation like we are drawing it up from the front foot. We're going to raise it all the way up through this front side of the body. And we're going to send our exhalations back down into the earth through the back foot. So inhaling up through, stretching, lifting, and then exhaling and descending that breath through the back foot, into the floor, into the earth. Okay. After a couple of those breaths, we're going to fold into our Trikonasana now. So inhale as you lift up, and exhale and fold. You may raise the top arm up, and again, we're finding this openness across the chest. Now, don't go down too low. If you are striving to get down too low and you start rounding in the body here, then bring yourself up high. What we want, what takes us down low, is getting this really effective tilt of the pelvis. So that's what will allow the body to descend. Reach through your back heel from the direction of the back toes to the heel. So feel that you can extend through the foot in that direction. Okay, when you're ready, we're going to come up as we did before. So we're going to start to come up from this top hand, like someone's just gently pulling on the fingers there to bring us up. We're going to allow the bottom arm to be soft. And then we're going to bring our hands back onto our hips, turn our feet to the front, step our feet back in towards each other, and breathe. Forehead soft, jaw released. Come back in, this moment of peacefulness here. It's all there is. The mind constantly has challenges. You know, we have this every time we come onto our yoga mat, that there is a pull into other things. There's a pull into the fluctuations of mind. You know, whether or not it's, you know, challenging stuff or mundane stuff. That pull is always there. But what, you know, is always there when we come to the mat as well is an intention to, you know, not be pulled by that stuff for a while. We're not pushing it away or rejecting it, but we're just reorientating ourselves back to our center. That's all we're doing. Okay. Now, I'd like you to bend your left knee, allow your weight to shift into your right foot. And we're going to play a little here with this leg. So we're going to allow a little bit of movement. So you can be up on the toes of your left leg and just allow the leg to swing a little. Just allow it to swing a little. And you can let yourself swing into this too. So you can let yourself move into this. We're just feeling into some movement into the hip here. Okay, that's it. And then bringing that leg back in, we're going to just sort of pick up a little bit of movement, which is going to be to now pick the leg up and rotate it. Touch the floor with your toes as you bring the leg back in. So you can even brush along the floor, and we just start to feel into this movement of the hip. And let this movement be integrated with your breath, as always. And just feel the movement, feel the flow. Now we're probably starting to feel, you know, fairly strong work into the hip, into the area around the buttocks now. So we're going to just bring that leg back in for a moment. Place the foot next to the other one. Take a breath, feel into the experience of both legs, both hips. And notice how there is an experience that comes when we've been doing something with one side of the body and not the other, that we have what initially, but then when we stop, what happens is those two separate experiences start to stabilize and start to come together. So everything, you know, looks for equilibrium constantly. We don't always notice that there's this pull towards equilibrium because we're so busy being distracted by life and our own constructs. So notice this natural return. Okay, we're going to do the same with the other leg. So bending your right knee, and first of all you're just going to come up onto your toes and you're just going to let yourself swing around here a little, just swing into it. That's it, perfect. I can only see one person practicing because most of you just got your name on there, but I can see that practice happening. Anita, I can see you. It's good to see you practicing. I can see your names. I know you're all there practicing, so what a lovely thing. It's nice to have you all in my kitchen. Okay, we'll come back. Now, again, we're going to take that movement, so we're just going to allow the leg to rotate out and then the toes touch the floor, so you sort of touch back in. There's a little rotation and then there's a touch back in. The toes are just lightly kissing the floor, even brushing the floor as you draw the leg forwards. Breathe. Of course, you're at home, you may be using a wall to balance, that's fine if you need to. Okay, and then bring your foot back next to the other one. Wiggle it out if you need to, but you know, trust. You know, we do sometimes do these little movements to return ourselves to equilibrium, but it will happen by itself. It really will happen by itself. We don't need to. But sometimes the urge is kind of strong to do that because actually we have this calling to balance. Okay, we're going to come back to the first leg now. So shift your weight over into your right foot, bend your left knee, and then start to raise that leg up. We're going to bring our arm through the inside of the leg, so we're going to see if we can take hold of our big toe. Now, if you cannot reach your big toe, we can just take a little temporary stage of holding the shin, and that's fine. Okay, you can, there are options to wrap a strap around the foot, but watch out for that, because when we wrap a strap, sometimes we start sort of bending the knee out to the side like that. So we want to try and keep the leg fairly central, and we hold the big toe. Your other hand can be on your hip. You can breathe. And then we're going to play with extending that leg forwards. So start to reach the leg forwards again, toning the belly, lifting the chest. Now, you do not have to bring this leg too straight by any means. You may come back to this stage or this stage. You may start to extend the leg out and just play with that. Deep breaths. Okay, now we may, whether you're holding your leg out straight or holding the shin, you can extend your leg out to the side. Okay, so little wobble there from me. So I actually love it when I wobble in a balancing posture. You know, as the yoga teacher, sometimes it's felt that, oh, I should be able to always balance and show my students how steady I am. But, you know, what balance is adapting to the movement in the body. And sometimes, you know, we do wobble. We do lose our balance, and it's fine. But what we do is pull ourselves back into the center to see if we can find that balance. Okay, well done. We're going to release the leg. We're going to bring the leg back in. We're going to place the foot to the floor. We're going to take a breath. And then we're going to maybe give ourselves a bit of movement so you can have a little wiggle as you need. Take some breaths, let everything settle. So there's probably still some residue from that posture. So wait for it all to settle. What we do have here in this moment is the time to just wait. We're not rushing through our postures because there's nowhere to get to. Okay, we're going to bend the right knee now, keeping your left foot firmly planted on the floor. Again, you might spread the toes, you might move around on that foot to establish that firm balance. And then when you're ready, we're going to raise that knee up. We're going to take hold of the shin. Going to breathe. And then we may take hold of the big toe. Index finger and middle finger wrapping around the toe. Thumb tip comes to meet those fingertips. Or free hands maybe on your hip. You can take the arm out to counterbalance if you wish. Okay, we're going to extend the leg or play with extending the leg. So it might just be a little lift of the foot. That might be enough. It might be that you start to extend the leg further out, or all of these are offerings. They're stages that you can come to, but you don't need to. That's it, breathe. Now we're going to perhaps take the leg out to the side, and again, it can either be taken out with the leg extended, arm extended, or you can come out to the side with the knee. So with the knee, we're still getting this reach into the inner groin of the left leg. So breathe. Okay, well done. Bring the leg back in, arm back in, foot back to the floor, back to the wonderful Tadasana. Find your breath. And I'd like us all to collectively to take a slower, deeper breath and feel the rest of the group here breathing with you. Take a slower, deeper breath now. And then allow your breath to return to its own easy flow. Okay, now, hopefully you've all got some kind of block or household object that is fairly stable that you can use like a brick. Okay, we're going to come into a forward fold. So just going to come, if you are using a yoga mat, you can come towards one end of your yoga mat and pop your block in front of you. So yeah, box of tissues I recommended earlier that you could use. It doesn't need to be something that's super firm, so just something that we can bring our fingers onto. So stand with your feet hip width apart. Your brick, your block, your tissues, whatever it might be. I'd love to hear what you're using. So, do get in contact with me if you found any inventive items to use around the house. So, feet hip width apart, spread your toes. Draw your heels back. Release your shoulders. Let's just place our hands to our heart for a moment before we fold forwards. So there's very much a kind of gathering in that happens when we fold our body forwards and we're bringing the torso towards the legs, which is really useful. And it's often something that, you know, we need every now and then. We need to have this sort of mini retreat that we get in a forward fold. But what we are retreating into, this is the point. We're retreating into here. We're retreating into the heart center. So I want you to place your hands over your heart. And we can maybe feel the physical heart itself. Maybe we'll even pick up our own heartbeat. But what we're also feeling into is the energetic heart here. A little sense of warmth. And some space. Okay. Keeping that orientation to this center, you may release your hands. We're going to fold ourselves forward, so we're going to allow the hip joints to turn. So the pelvis tilts forwards. We turn at the hip joints. So you can feel, if you tune into your sitting bones, you can feel that the sitting bones are rising up because they are the bottom of your pelvis. And then what happens is they rise up, the spine will follow. If it doesn't follow, what happens is that we end up arching too much. So let the spine follow so you can keep pretty much natural curvature of your spine. And then bring your hands down to your brick. That's it, and breathe. Now you may wiggle a little here. I always enjoy a little sway here. So, you know, let yourself sway, play, breathe. Feel the movement of your hips and the movement across your feet. Breathe. If this feels too low for some of you, you know, you can grab a chair. If you've got a chair handy in your house, you can come down to a chair like so. It doesn't have to be all the way down. So what I want you to do is to tune into the lower back. Tune into the back of the thighs. So in a forward bend, what we get is a deep stretch through the back of the body. So if it's too tight in our hamstrings when we're folding forwards, what happens where the hamstrings are attached into the sitting bones is they pull on the sitting bones and they want to pull the sitting bones back, and then we try and pull against it. So if we feel very tight here, you bend your knees a little. If there's any tightness in the lower back, you can bend your knees a little, and then again that frees up the hamstrings to allow the turn. So that's it, you just pause, you play, you sway, you breathe, you enjoy. Let's really make a commitment to enjoy our yoga practice together. Okay, if you find your body releasing, you are free to, of course, fold further forwards. To fold into a deeper forward bend, to even bring your hands down to the floor or to hold your elbows. But you know, there's no need to really. You know, resist the temptation, particularly if you are, you know, I'm hearing from a lot of people that a lot of people are stiff this week, they're moving less. So if you are one of those people who's feeling a little bit stiff from, you know, a change in your lifestyle, then you know, don't grasp for the stretch. What we need to do is, you know, introduce ourselves to it with care, with attention. So we recognize that there's tightness there. You know, we're not going to get rid of that tightness by just trying to pull it out strongly. How we're going to get rid of that tightness is to gently coax it into release. Okay, now from here, we're not going to come back up, we're going to come down. So you may remove your block or whatever you are using. We're going to bring our hands to the floor, so our hands are shoulder width apart, our fingers are spread, our middle fingers are pointing forwards. And then we're going to step our feet back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. So reaching back, breathing. Stretching it out, playing, so that sway of the hips, you can move into it. So let's, as you play, as you move into it, feel it as a, it's a rich exploration. You might bend a knee, extend a leg. You may, move into, I quite like moving into a little sway of the hips that is almost like a little infinity symbol, like a little figure of 8 with the hips, and sort of sometimes I'll sway it continuously, other times I'll sort of kick into it and move and move and move. So, just play and see how it feels. Okay? Keep going. And then there might be a point at which, your play moves to a point where, oh, okay, I've accessed awareness of my body through this play. We use it to wake up the body. And then what we find when we've accessed that awareness, what we want to do is just drop into stillness with that awareness. So there might be a point at which, you start to settle, and then you are content to be relatively still in the pose. You don't have to be, you are free to continue moving, but if you get to that point where, okay, I'm dropping in, and here I am, then go there, stay there. Okay, you may bend your knees. Come and sit back on your heels, rest your hands in your lap. Take support if you need support between buttocks and heels, underneath the ankles, hands in your lap. I know there are people on the class who need that support, so you know who you are. So take that support if you need it. And then rest your hands, one hand on top of the other, palms facing up, let the shoulders settle. Allow softening in the inner elbows. Allow flow of your breath. And as you settle into Vajrasana, this posture that represents direct clarity. It's named after a Vajra, a thunderbolt. And the symbolism of that in yoga philosophy is this very clear awakeness. So as we sit here, we're sitting in this clarity. We're sitting in a moment of pure awakening. Okay, we're going to bring ourselves forwards now. We're going to come to our hands and knees. Some of you might need your blanket or towel nearby for this. We're going to come into Ekapada Raja Kapotasana, which is the very snappily named 1-foot king pigeon pose. So we're going to come onto our hands and knees. Now, before we come into it, so I know that you're all probably very familiar with the posture, but we're not going to move straight in. We're going to play again with a little bit of movement here on our hands and knees. So maybe a little wiggle of the hips, a roll of the shoulders, a little movement through the spine, a little shake, anything that, again, brings you in. We're constantly, because the mind is such a powerful part of being human, it's there, it's almost constantly pulling us back, like saying to us, you don't want to take attention in that, you want to pay attention to this. So even when we have these wonderful moments where we're completely abiding in awareness, the mind is always ready to come in and pull us out of it. And that awareness of our body in a yoga practice, you know, we have to just keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. So come back through movement, come back through breath. Okay, and then when you are ready, we're going to bring our left knee forwards to the back of the left wrist. That's it. Now, those of you with any knee issues in this front knee, you can keep your foot of your left foot exactly where it is. For most people, we're absolutely fine to take the foot diagonally across the mat to the other side of the mat. And then we're going to walk our leg back. Now, as we walk this leg back, we might not adjust straight into it. So with your toes tucked in under, you can take the knee back, but then maybe you might want to fold back and forth. So there's a little lift of the heel as you lean forwards and an extension back into the heel. So what we do here, I'll turn around so you can see in this movement back and forth with the lift of the heel and the sending back of the heel is we are teasing out this area of the front groin here where we're going to get that nice deep stretch. So just play into that. Now, those of you who have taken your foot diagonally across your mat, if your hip of your bent leg is lifted, this is where you might grab your blankets or towel and give yourself some support there, okay? And even if you don't need it, you know, it can be quite nice to just have something to land on. So some of you will be a little lifted from the floor and maybe you don't normally take support and it's fine and it feels okay. But actually, you know, the benefit of support is that when we have support, we feel we can let go. When we are unsupported, we feel that, you know, we have to provide that support. We have to hold ourselves up. So the support of a yoga block or prop, you know, is the same as any other support that we take in our life. Sometimes we don't need it, sometimes we really do. Now, while you're here, you might be wiggling perhaps from side to side to feel into it. I'm up on my fingertips to give myself more length in my spine, because if I bring my palms down, I just drop a little. So this is helping me to lift my chest. Okay, and I'm playing and I'm breathing and I'm feeling into it, and we're going to feel into this. And those of you that feel you've got that release coming into the back groin area, the groin of the back leg, may be able to, we can take the same arm as the back leg, we're going to bend back that back leg and take hold. Now, this is stage 1, this is stage 2, they're all and if this is a fairly easy option for you, you may be able to bring the other hand back. I'll turn sideways again so you get the sideways view. You may be able to bring the other hand back as well, so we're holding with the foot, the ankle or the shin with both hands. Now, this isn't for everyone and it's a super deep stretch. You get a deep stretch through the quadriceps of that back leg, the front thigh. And it makes us really lift up into the posture. So it can be one hand, it can be no hands, but we are lifting up through the upper body. So if you've got both hands on the floor, press into your hands and get that lift. Okay. That's it, breathe. Now, we're going to release. We're going to take the leg back. We're going to take the body forward just a little lean. With my blankets, just a little lean. And then find your breath. And then you may slowly start to come down, maybe coming down onto your forearms. Maybe coming down to your forehead. Deep breaths. Obviously, any time you need to release out of any of these postures, you go ahead. You release. But whilst you're there, you're breathing. You're being there. You are letting yourself be held by the support of the floor, by the support of any props, and by the support of the posture itself. So postures should be, we're using them to point us into the heart center. Another word that we sometimes use for posture is sthiti. And it's a word that has many translations. It's in part a pointer towards stability, maintenance. But one of the most lovely translations of this word is that which continually exists. So our yoga posture is a pointer to that which continually exists, which is consciousness. So we're being pointed into consciousness. And where we have that most awake connection with consciousness is within the heart center. Consciousness that is not determined by story. Okay, I'd like you to bring yourselves up if you folded forward, so come up through the forearms, through the hands, until your body is lifted. Tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee. You can slide the front foot back. You can slide out either to your hands and knees, or you can push out through downward facing dog. Ease your body through. That's it, breathe. And then when you feel ready, we're going to take the right knee to the back of the right wrist. Again, those of you who have any knee issues may just keep the leg exactly where it is now. No need to take the leg across the body. If you are happy and you know that you're quite comfortable in this, in the knees, you can take your right foot towards the left side of your yoga mat or your carpet, whatever you're practicing on, and then you walk back the back leg. In fact, we'll do the same thing that we did before, so we might play into this, keeping the knee lifted, toes tucked under, and then you can reach back and forth through the heel, so you can start to tease out this stretch here. So I'm just exaggerating that movement a little bit for you so you can see that more clearly. So just play into that. And it's these little movements in yoga that I absolutely love. These are the moments that really draw me into attention. It's not any big dramatic posture, but it's these little micro movements of, deep exploration, of investigation that pull me into awareness. Okay. When you're ready, you may land that knee, walking the toes back. You may play, perhaps hear a little movement from side to side. You can pad out your back knee if you need to, if that kneecap catches. So, I'm relying on you all to be tuned into your own body to take the support that you need when you need it. We've got, again, this hip of the bent leg may need some support with a block, folded towel or blanket, so pop it under if you need it. And then again, you can play a little here. Perhaps a little movement from side to side. Light tone in the belly, lift in the chest, so we want to keep lifting up. Some of you will have yoga equipment and you may need a little bit more support under the hands to get that lift. So, you know, particularly if your arms are a little shorter, you might not have that length in the arms to really reach into the upper body. So, you know, you can grab as many objects I'm sure you can think you can use around your house. Okay, now again, we're going to draw that back leg back as a possible option and take hold with the same hand. When you take hold with just the same hand, it turns the body, you lean into it a little, but that's okay, but we do want to keep the lift. Okay? Now, those of you who are able to play into that a little more, you can draw the foot in closer. You might play into just doing it with the one hand to feel into that stretch through the front of the thigh, or you can bring your other hand around and you can take hold with both hands. That's it, breathe, lift. Keep the lift up through the body, whether you're using your hands on the floor or you're holding your leg. Okay, well done. Release. If you're holding your leg, extend that leg back. Take a breath here before you do anything. And then maybe a slow movement forwards. Maybe coming down to the forearms. Maybe coming down to the forehead. All of these stages are optional positions for the pose. Or wherever you are, you know, feel it as a practice of sthiti, of moving into that which continually exists, of moving into a moment of calm. Because consciousness is untouched by movement. It's not changed by movement. Movements, fluctuations of life are all experienced through consciousness. So consciousness is never harmed, it's never changed by that. This is pure consciousness, the heart center. So that's what we look for. Okay, we're going to slowly bring ourselves back up, pressing into the hands, starting the lift up. Tuck your back toes under. You can lift your back knee. That will give you the space to release the front leg. Either come back to your hands and knees and do whatever you need to do here. Pause, breathe, wiggle it out, or push back straight into a downward facing dog. And again, wiggle it out, move it out, do whatever you need to do. Deep breaths. And then just come to sit, hands in your lap. Find your breath. Find your heart center. Feel the fullness of being. And take a deep breath into that. Slowly release from your kneeling position. You're going to take your blanket or towel, which I hope you all have. If you don't have, you can just enjoy lying down. But what we're going to do is we're going to roll it up. So you fold it up and then roll it. So we're going to create a little mini bolster like sausage type thing here, for which we are going to lay ourselves over. Now, when we lay over this, I'm coming in closer to give you a good look at this, it's going to come into this part of the back, can you see? Now, where that part of the back corresponds with is my breastbone, the lower part of my breastbone. So when I lay over it, my shoulders are going to come over the top of the blanket and release towards the floor. My chest is going to be opened by the blanket. So we lay down. You pop yourself down on the floor, hands on your rolled blanket or towel, and then you bring yourself down. So I've got my chin tucked forward so I can really lengthen through the back. I bring myself open, my shoulders are moving towards the floor, my head to the floor. You can pop a cushion or something underneath your head if you need it. And then you can take your arms out to the side and extend your legs out. And we're going to be here for a few breaths. So as we breathe here, now make sure before you settle in this, make sure you're not in this position, so it shouldn't be lifting up your shoulders. You want the shoulders down to the floor. Okay? It shouldn't be too low down in your back as well. If it's too low down in your back, you'll feel a little sense of being a bit collapsed in the chest. So there's an optimum place, and that optimum place, you know when it's right, because you know it's reasonably strong. Even if you do this regularly, you can feel that contact in that area of the spine behind your breastbone. It feels, you know, it's fairly deep. I love the sensation of this. But if it does feel strong there, it's okay. What you need to do is come to your breath. You can either keep your knees bent and your feet on the floor, or you extend your legs out. And then you give yourself completely here. You give yourself completely here. So we're going to stay here for 5 breaths. Allowing the breath to flow with ease and grace. And then once you've taken those 5 breaths, you're going to bring yourselves out. So what you can do is you can lift up your pelvis. If you've got space above your head, you can kind of shuffle yourself back, and then you can push your rolled up blanket out. So push it down the body towards the hips, and then you should be able to remove it fairly easily. And then once you've removed it, then just lie with your feet on the floor. Arms out wide, knees bent. Take a few breaths here. And then from here, you're going to, once you've settled in the back, you can hug your knees into your chest. Give them a hug. You can hold each knee independently with each hand, or you can interlace your hands in front of your shins, and you can play around there. You can move. Little rocking from side to side is always delicious in this posture. So go ahead and do that if you enjoy that. And then once you've done that, you can release your legs, place your feet to the floor. You may feel the urge to have a little twist out, so you may want to drop the knees from side to side perhaps. So we can just go through for a nice casual twist here, a drawing in of the legs, a dropping of the knees, just to feel a little gentle tease out of the back of the body. You might do this a couple of times. Your arms are out wide, elbows level with the shoulders or higher. And then when you've moved a little across the back, you may then place your feet to the floor. I'm going to lay down for Shavasana from here. So take support if you need it under your head. Arms are a little away from the body, so you have this space here in the armpits. So you want to be nice and open across the chest. If you're not wanting to take your arms out wide, maybe your floor is cold or something, you can bring the hands in. Place hands to the belly, or one hand to the belly, one hand to the chest. You can pop on warmer clothing, socks, anything you need. Get yourself under a blanket. You could even get yourself under your own duvet. You're at home. So make yourselves really comfortable for Shavasana. And then when you come into Shavasana, I'd like you to close your eyes and come to your breath. Give yourself the breath flows, the body releases. We orientate ourselves back towards the heart center. To find the fullness of being. I'm going to read you a verse from the Upanishads, and then I'm going to sing it. It's a well-known mantra. So this is the English translation. Om. That is full. This is full. Fullness comes forth from fullness. When fullness is taken from fullness, fullness remains. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Om Purnamada Puramidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamiva Vashishyate. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Take 2 or 3 slower, steadier, fuller breaths and rest in that fullness of being, that fullness of everything, that fullness of life. And then when you've taken those fuller breaths, bend your knees and place your feet to the floor. And allow your breath to settle here. You may then roll to lay on your right side and pause there. Enjoying the feel of the weight of your body against the earth. Enjoying your breath. And then again, when you're ready, you may roll yourselves onto your other side and again continue that enjoyment. Tapping into our own fullness. And then when you're ready, slowly start to bring yourselves out. So maybe a little movement into the toes, into the fingers, a stretch out of the limb, or whatever you need, a deeper breath. And then bring yourselves into a comfortable seated posture. And we're going to close our session together with 3 Oms. So bringing your hands to your heart, maybe into Anjali Mudra. Maybe you want to place your hands over your heart center, or Vajrapradana Mudra, this mudra of unwavering trust, where we interlace the fingers, we slightly open the top fingers and place that over the heart. Let's take a deep inhalation to prepare. Thank you all so much for joining me. Namaste. Thank you. I hope you can stay connected to your own fullness throughout the day, and I hope to see you all soon online. I'm going to come over to the computer now, so feel free if you want to unmute yourself and say hi and bye. That would be lovely. It's been really lovely having you all here. Thank you, Julie, who sent me things coming on chat.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That was lovely. Thank you.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thanks, Frances. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kadeen.
Thank you.
I'm glad you got to see me.
Oh, guys. I'm glad you did too. I actually couldn't see anything other than Louise's name at the whole across my computer.
Right.
Teaching your name, Louise.
See you soon.
See you soon. Take care. Yeah, feel free to flash yourselves up. Take your video off if you want to say hi, anyone.
Wow.
Thanks.
I don't know how to do that. Where is the video?
Oh, hi, Tammy. Hi, Francis. Oh, lovely to see you.
How do you do it?
Nice to see everyone's It's so nice to see your faces coming on. Oh, bless you all.
Thank you, Kadeen.
Thank you. Bye.
How we press it, stopping.
How do you do it? I can't see.
I don't know.